The Mission Impossible franchise is known for its insane, high-risk stunts, but what's even more surprising is that this all started back in 1996, and most of those scenes were shot practically, without relying heavily on CGI. So the real question is, how did Tom Cruise pull off these impossible moments with such realism? How were these dangerous sequences actually filmed? And how much of what you see on screen was real? Let's go behind the scenes and uncover the truth. In Mission Impossible, one of the earliest intense moments takes place inside what appears to be a normal, crowded restaurant. At first, everything feels calm and ordinary, but slowly, Ethan Hunt begins to sense that something isn't right, that he's being watched, and his life is in danger. Within seconds, the tension explodes. Without hesitation, he throws a small chewing gum bomb toward a massive fish tank, and suddenly, the entire space erupts as glass shatters and a huge wave of water bursts outward, creating chaos and giving him the perfect chance to escape. On screen, the explosion feels cinematic and controlled, but behind the scenes, it was shockingly real and extremely dangerous. The production team built a full-scale glass-walled restaurant set, complete with enormous fish tanks filled with nearly 16 tons of water. When the explosion happens, it's not CGI, it's a carefully designed practical effect. The glass was specifically rigged to break safely, but still with enough force to release a powerful surge of water that would flood the set in a single explosive moment. And what makes this scene even more intense is the fact that Tom Cruise performed it himself. Director Brian De Palma initially planned to use a stunt double, but the result didn't feel realistic enough, so Cruise stepped in, placing himself directly in the path of shattering glass, massive water pressure, and an unpredictable blast. Jumping through that chaos, with real water force crashing around him, was incredibly risky. And that's exactly why the scene still feels so raw and authentic today. Because what you're watching isn't just an effect, it's a real physical event captured on camera. Right after that, the film delivers one of the most iconic and suspenseful scenes in action movie history, the CIA vault heist. In this sequence, Ethan Hunt executes an almost impossible mission, breaking into a highly secured vault where even the smallest sound, sudden movement, or a slight temperature change could instantly trigger an alarm. The room is silent, sterile, and unforgiving, and the only way in is from above. Suspended by a thin cable, Ethan is slowly lowered into the room, hanging in midair as he carefully reaches the computer system without ever touching the ground. What makes this scene truly legendary is that it was almost entirely practical. Tom Cruise was actually suspended in the air using a real wire and harness, with no heavy reliance on CGI. But the biggest challenge wasn't just hanging there, it was maintaining perfect balance. Every time he was lowered down, his body would naturally tilt forward, causing his face to come dangerously close to the floor. Staying completely horizontal required intense control over every muscle in his body. To solve this, Cruise came up with a clever trick. He placed coins inside his shoes to add weight to his feet. This helped counterbalance his body, allowing him to remain perfectly level in the air. Even with that adjustment, holding that position was physically exhausting. The tension you feel in the scene, the stillness, the fear of slipping, the precision of every movement isn't just acting. It's real physical strain and focus, captured on camera, which is exactly why the scene remains one of the most unforgettable moments in the entire film. As Mission Impossible moves toward its climax, it delivers a sequence that feels almost impossible. Not just as an action scene, but as a true masterclass in filmmaking. A high-speed train races forward, Ethan Hunt clings to its roof, and a helicopter chases from behind, eventually following the train straight into a narrow tunnel. On first viewing, it feels completely real, as if everything was shot on an actual moving train at full speed, but the reality behind this sequence is far more complex, and far more brilliant. To bring this moment to life, the filmmakers combined practical effects, full-scale sets, miniatures, wind simulation, and early CGI mix-up, something that was incredibly ambitious for its time. Starting with the train top shots, most people assumed they were filmed on a real moving train. Surprisingly, they weren't. A full-scale train set was built inside a studio, and the train itself was completely stationary. The real challenge wasn't movement, it was creating the illusion of speed. To achieve this, the crew used massive industrial wind machines that blasted air at extremely high force. The wind was so powerful that it pushed the actors physically, making their clothes whip violently and their bodies struggle to stay balanced. This created the illusion of a train moving at around 140 to 160 kilometers per hour. Because of this, every movement Ethan makes, every crawl, every grip, feels tense and realistic. And at the center of it all was Tom Cruise, who chose to perform these stunts himself. While he was secured with hidden harnesses and safety wires, later removed digitally, the physical struggle you see on screen is completely real. Acting against such intense wind pressure is extremely difficult, and that's why his expressions and body movements feel so authentic. In an era where CGI was limited, having the actor physically present in such conditions made a huge difference in realism. The sequence becomes even more impressive when you look at the visual effects work. The legendary team at Industrial Light and Magic handled over 150 VFX shots for this climax. Actors were filmed against blue screen, and then environments like the rushing landscape, sky, and tunnel interiors were digitally added. At the same time, the filmmakers relied heavily on miniature models, building scaled-down versions of the train and tunnel for explosion and destruction shots. These miniatures were physically blasted and filmed in a controlled environment, which gave the explosions a realistic weight that pure CGI couldn't achieve at the time. The helicopter sequence adds another layer of complexity. In real life, flying a helicopter inside a narrow tunnel is nearly impossible, so this part was created using a mix of techniques. Interior cockpit shots were filmed on set, while external views of the helicopter were created using miniatures and CGI, then composited together with the train footage. What looks like a single continuous chase is actually a multi-layered visual composition, blending different elements seamlessly into one intense sequence. In the end, this train, tunnel, and helicopter sequence stands as a perfect example of how practical stunts, miniatures, early CGI, and bold creativity can come together to create something timeless. It's not just an action scene, it's a showcase of innovation and risk-taking that helped define the identity of the Mission Impossible franchise. In the end, it's clear that Mission Impossible 1996 wasn't just about action. It was about real risk, smart filmmaking, and incredible dedication. If you're enjoying these behind-the-scenes secrets and want more deep dives into iconic movies like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because here, we don't just watch movies, we break down the real effort and hidden techniques behind them.